It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
Hello, model citizens. Welcome to Humanity Junction. Tonight on Trains and Tech, I'm going to do something that only an idiot would attempt to do live. Yes, I am going to do something that I really probably should have prepped and probably should have actually planned out and probably should have figured out what I was doing before I attempted to do it live. I'm going to explain what that is in 1 second. I think before we get there, though, I have this envelope. Came from Junction Senior, James over at Dundas Junction up in Canada. He sent this to me. I meant to open it up last week. Didn't quite get to it yet, but I got it here to kind of, let me actually move it. Let me move to the side. We'll get back to that a little bit later. But yeah, so nothing new, exactly. Russ, yes, I did. This idiot right here. So here's the idea, right? Last week, and I completely blame Bob B for this one. So last week we talked about operations, and it kind of got me going, and I'm kind of like, okay, I really have to keep going on some of this ops stuff. And one of the big things I want to do in the ops stuff is set up a dispatcher's panel that actually works and actually detects the track. The problem with doing that is, well, the wiring is kind of done, but the track work itself, I need to do some modifications to it. Essentially, what I'm going to do at some point tonight, hopefully sooner than later, but I got a couple things to figure out first. I'm going to put this guy on, and we're going to take a Dremel to my layout. If it works, it's going to be amazing. If it doesn't work, I think I'm just going to go home and cry. So here's the idea. Here's the plan. If we go back to this view, if I take one of these little guys here, this is a little track tester, little train man, You can get these over at Seth Newman's website. But if I put it on the track, you can't really see it, but a red light lights up. Oh, there you go. You can kind of see it. There you go. Red light comes on. I got a little blue one here as well. So what happens for block detection is when I put it on the track, I don't know, can you hear the dinging? No, you can't hear the ding. Let me do something so you can hear the dinging that's in my head, because I think that would actually help us a little bit. Let's see, filters, turn noise suppression off. So it might be a little noisy tonight. Let's see if let's see. Can you hear a bell dinging? I don't know. You might not be able to hear the bell dinging, but what I'm doing when I put this on the layout, I am creating resistance between the two rails. That resistance is going to my system, and it is saying that I'm doing something. But the problem with that is, yes, the dingy, very soft, but it's there. Okay, so yeah, so TSG has Seth Newman on quite frequently. Seth's a really, really good good guy. Yes, Ed, very, very frequently, very, very frequently I do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clear a couple things off this section of the layout, because what's happening right now, well, here, let's do this. So I talked last week, I use JMRI, right? So JMRI is what provides kind of some of the smarts on this layout. Yeah, Dennis, I agree, right? I agree. So what I'm doing is I've got this little window right here, and this is the LocoNet monitor. And if you watch the bottom, when I put this on it, you can see the text is scrolling up, right? So that's identifying identifying different tracks as I go around the layout, right? But here's the problem. Right now, the way it's set up, I don't have any gaps in any of the tracks. So all of the tracks are connected to each other. So if I put it down here, it's not identifying this specific track. It's just kind of identifying tracks in general. So if you could see really closely, you could actually see the numbers are changing a little bit as I go around. And I can show another here. This view might be a little easier. Let's see, if I show this, you can see it'll turn red. Goes from red to blue, right? So this is block detection. But what I want to do, or what my goal is to have it so that on this version here, when I put this thing on the track and it goes ding, 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 I want this track to turn a color so that I know something's there. I know I'm probably not even explaining things correctly. The gist of it is that I've got the Dremel out. That's the long story. The long story short of tonight is I've got the Dremel out, and I'm gonna cut into my track work. The track work mostly works. I'm gonna hopefully keep it working, but we'll see how that goes. So first things first, I want to get these cabooses out of the way here. So just slide these cabooses over, and then I'm going to use, I'll use this panel here, and I'm going to click that button there, which is going to change the little turnout, and then I'll push the cabooses into the what's that called? The place where the locomotives go to play. So let's also get these guys out of here. Let's put these Let's put these on the yard lead. So hopefully if I do this right. Now, I spent some time over the last couple of days, and I actually added weight to all of these. So let's see. Do you have block boundaries set up in JMRI? Not yet. They're set up physically. They're not set up in the software yet. Live streaming with power tools, what can go wrong? Exactly. Shop will cut just one rail. Yes, we are just going to cut one rail. That's it. Heath, just an FYI, dispatchers only see red and green on their dispatch displays. Dispatchers are not displaying the signals, but the system, yes, correct. Yeah, so what you are seeing here, these buttons are turnout control. And then right now, for some unknown reason, don't know why, I have the main line marked as red. I'll change that. It'll go back to being this color until once I get block detection. So once I get block detection, red will be that there's something in the block. So where the locomotives go to play. Yes, exactly, Paul. Whatever you mean. That's a big Dremel for N scale. It's probably a big Dremel for me. I probably should not be. Oh, no. I just had a little accident. The engine shed was over the tracks. And now I have to put some cars back on the tracks because I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't watching. So one of the tenets of operations is that you have to watch your front car and the direction you're going. And I was pushing from the back, and I did not have my conductor go ahead onto the front to make sure that there was nothing in the way. So, of course, we had a little accident, but we're good now. We're just gonna move stuff out of the way. Apparently, I've got some cars still off the track over here. This isn't the fun part. We're gonna get to the fun part. I probably should have done this before I started the stream, right? Like I should have prepped the space. The only reason why I'm really moving these is because I don't really want metal shavings all over them. I don't know that I'm going to be able to completely succeed at that, but I'm gonna make a couple little efforts. If you don't have one of these little guys, you can also do what I'm doing with a, you can also do just with a lamp. These are 24 volt AC LEDs that I have, and I can't. So you can also do the track detection with that. Eventually, I'll actually need to put resistor wheel sets on all of my items so that I can so that all the cars will be detected. Usually, you put one on each end of a car. All right, so this guy is going out, and he's going onto the main line. He shouldn't hit anything. Let's hope he doesn't hit anything. I'm gonna have to. Oh, this guy did not want to stay on. Did I weigh this guy? This guy still feels very light. Oh, I'm kind of nervous about tonight. I don't really know how tonight's gonna go. I suspect it's gonna go okay. Oh, Alexa, turn on layout 12 volt. Forgot to turn on the 12 volt, so some of the turnouts weren't working. I like to call. Oh, geez. Apparently, I didn't have these clear. The section I'm running through right now is the section where Andy likes to launch cars off onto the ground. You can tell I put the weights in this car. I didn't put this car, where's the camera? I didn't put this car back together correctly. So when it sits on the track, it's got a nice lean to it. So I gotta get this car back assembled. I think Cowboy Steve had a video installing resistors on wheel sets. Yeah, it's one of those things that, like, I'll probably end up doing it in front of the TV at night, just because it just takes a long time, and you know, it's easier if you've got something else to kind of keep yourself somewhat busy while you're doing it. All right, so I got those out of the way. I'm gonna slide these back. So the rail that I'm planning to cut is gonna be this guy here. So let's see, over desk, this guy right here. So this is the one I'm gonna cut. For whatever reason, I don't know if you guys can not hear it, but right now, there is no dinging. If I go on this one, you can maybe make out the dinging, but this one, there's no dinging. So I'm a little concerned that this one's not gonna work. I'm a little concerned I'm gonna end up cutting this track and absolutely nothing good is gonna come of it. For whatever reason, none of these four here are doing it, but this one is. I don't know. That's why I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous because I'm not quite sure whether this is going to work out or not. It might not. It might not work out. Yeah, I did lose my dinghy. Oh, you heard it well that time? Okay, good. I should probably just like crank the volume up, right? If I crank the volume up, it's probably going to be louder. You should be able to hear that now. Is that the sound of the newsletter going out? I don't know, Andy. I haven't seen it. Too bad Heath doesn't have a locomotive move his train cars. You know, so it's funny you say that. I thought about it. I thought maybe I should take a locomotive and actually use that to move the cars. And then I thought that the chances of me actually doing that and not having something go catastrophically wrong is very, very low. So I moved them with my hands and something went wrong. Dave, I didn't have the shell on backwards. I just didn't have one side snapped in all the way. Let's see, I lost one of my little markers. RPRX, where's this one? RPRX, that's this guy here. All right, so let's get these cars out of the way now. These back here are my storage tracks. These up front here are the active yard. I'm only really getting these out of the way just because I don't really know when I cut with the Dremel, I think things are gonna kind of fly everywhere. And I'm a little, I don't know. Did you just hear that go ding? I don't know why that just dinged. Nothing should have made that ding. Anyway. Oh, I didn't explain this either. I guess I could explain this while we're looking at things. So this is JMRI here, right? And when I zoomed in, you can see the numbers going. That's the LocoNet monitor. But I also have connected this guy, and what this is my command station. So the command station's connected via USB, and same thing. This is what's actually making the dinging. So I'm using this with the dinging, because JMRI doesn't ding. So that's why I'm using both of them. Yeah, I thought about doing this too with the vacuum, We'll see. Yeah, someone might want to have the EMTs on speed dial. How apart are my feeders? Good question. So on, depends on the, just did it again. It's the switches. Yeah, I'm finding when I throw some of the switches or move some of the switches, it triggers. So it's the turnout that's it. Okay, back to the feeder. So on this track right here, let's see, can you see it from here maybe? I have a feeder here, and I have a feeder here, right about here. So I did this because it's a longer track, and there's actually two pieces of track here. Essentially, I kind of have a feeder drop about every 3 feet. Some places I have more drops. Some places I have less drops. Well, actually, there's nowhere that I have less drops. I have so many darn feeder drops. It's kind of stupid. Yeah, no, what it actually is it's when I move the, oh no, it wasn't. I thought it was going to be when I moved it. I don't know. Apparently I am setting, you're off duty. Ed, if I ever wake up and I see your face, I know that something went very, very wrong. Okay, so why do I have so many feeders? Because that is actually a very good question, because any feeder drop that you have that you want to, so I just saw this, somebody answered the door already. Any feeder drops that you have that you want to have block detection on, it costs money, right? Every circuit of block detection costs money. So why so many circuits? The whole reason why I have so many circuits is because of kind of one of my goals in model railroading. And one of my goals in model railroading is to share the hobby with as many people as possible and make the hobby and operations as accessible to everybody as possible. So one of the ways where I'm going to attempt to make model railroading accessible to everybody is by having things like this, this remote panel. This remote panel here, this remote panel here with all of the tracks detected, somebody remotely that is not able to actually see the layout in person will be able to see where all of the rolling stock is around the layout. So anywhere that there is red, it will just, it'll show that there's cars there. So, you know, if you're working as a conductor engineer team and you're the engineer, instead of like watching cameras and following cameras around, you can look at a page like this, and it will you'll basically see the detection as you go. The other thing that I'm going to attempt to do is put like the camera numbers on one of these, so that if you are the remote person, you can watch where your locomotive is going, which basically block your tripping as it goes, and you'll be able to switch cameras based on the view as well. So that's the idea. That's why I'm doing it. Don't know how good of an idea it is or how bad of an idea it is, but you know, nobody's ever accused me of good ideas. So I am going to push these out of the way, make some room over here. Okay, so now I should have things out of the way enough. I'm moving the cabouses a little further out of the way. There you go. They're all the way down the track now. Okay, so the other thing that I did, because, so if we go back to the ding dong, right? So it doesn't ding dong here. but it ding-dongs here, right? No ding-dong, no ding-dong, no ding-dong, 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 ding-dong there. So my concern was if I cut that down there, this track still might not work. And the reason it might not work is because maybe there's a problem with the sensor. And if there's a problem with the sensor, cutting the gap isn't going to help me one iota. So, how can I check that the sensor to this track is still working when it's not going ding dong, ding dong? So what I realized by kind of looking at things, and this is primarily why I opened this up, is I'm looking at this right now, and you can see that there are some tracks that are red, right? So like there's some that are already red, which means that according to this system, yeah, so, okay, yeah. So I'm using the DR5000 upgrade, which is yet another model railroad company. YAMORC is yet another model railroad company. This is what the command station actually looks like, is this guy here. The only thing I don't like about this command station is it doesn't have LCC. It could have LCC. It doesn't have LCC. Yeah, I'm distracted. Ding Dong the Witch is dead. Where's your MOW car? Which one? I think it's cool. Thank you. Yeah, I am not one to take the easy way. That is for sure. It's not a good idea. It's a great idea. Thank you. I will be calling you when I have problems, I am sure. Okay, so by looking at this page, what I realize is I think there's nothing on the track, but obviously the system thinks there's something on the track. So the only thing that I can figure is that the reason it's not going ding dong when I put something on the track here, but you put something on the track here, is that it already thinks something is on this track, so it's not redetecting it. But before I got into all this, I wanted to test that theory. And I wasn't sure how to actually test the sensor without like pulling the wires off of the tracks. And I didn't want to go under the layout and start pulling wires off of things to test to see if the sensors work. And then that's when I realized that another thing that I have on the layout is that every section that has, every time I touch it, every section that has block detection also has a relay wired in line to turn the power off to that track. So I opened up the system that I'm using. This is a part of MQTT. So this is ESP Home is what I'm using to upload the software wirelessly. But then MQTT is what I'm using to actually trigger and control things. So what I realized is I can go through and I can actually turn off, and you'll hear it ding a little bit as I go through and turn things off. If I turn all of this off, this is disconnecting the wires to the track. So apparently this one's still connected. Oh, interesting. Huh, I didn't get this far last time. So when I turn all of these off, now all of these tracks work, which means it's gotta be, now I'm more confused. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is where it's all confusing. Do I have all the connections connected? Not really, kind of. So DigiKeys and yet another model railroad company make a sensor device. That sensor device can be connected to the command station either via LocoNet and via S88N. So some of my sensors are connected via S88N, which is a network-based version of S88. Some of the sensors are connected via LocoNet. So underneath my layout, and I unfortunately don't have a camera set up to really show people, under the layout, I have set up these basically boards of things. Let's see. Here we go. Let's try this. I don't know if this is going to work. Nope, that didn't work. Oh, there we go. So I have these boards set up under the layout. That black box on the bottom, that is the sensor. The neutral bus is the blue connector on the very left. And then all of those green, those two green items there, those are the MQTT relays that I use to turn on and off track power. So the feeders come down that back wall, they all land onto the relays, and then all of the relays connect into that sensor. So this board, this panel here, has 16 set up on it. Around the room, like if I come over here, this one's a little different. This one here still has 16 circuits, but this one's got some other stuff on it as well. So I've got these all under the layout. They're all kind of set up. There's, I think, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So there's 6 of them total around the layout. The reason I did that is to kind of make things modular. If I do ever need to change the layout, I can just, disconnect those panels and not have to do anything there. Nice wiring job. Thank you. Okay, so I don't know why this is doing this right now, but I want to look at, what I want to go to is, I want to get back to this page here. So what should happen now, okay, so this is, if you look at 17, so you can see that 17, that's 17, that's 17. These should not all be 17. So 17 is actually down here somewhere. So by flipping off these switches, what I did was I turned off the power to a track that's down that way. So now these tracks are kind of working. And I saw Andy Estep made a comment. He said before. So yeah, I believe me, I am very, very aware that what the computer is saying should be correct. All right, so if you see this one, you'll see 17 and 25 lighting up. Oh, and there's 2 on the 17 line and 1 on the 25 line. All right, so I think the thing to do is to cut that gap. Right? I mean, is there anything else I should check before I cut the gap? Because theoretically, if I cut this gap... Oh, so to go back to what I was saying earlier, the reason I pulled this test light out is I climbed under here and I used this test light on the sensors to check that the sensors were actually working. Adam is pointing out the wires are crossed somewhere. So, Adam, if you were here on time, just joking, if you were here on time, I just said it again, but I am still joking. What I explained is, as of this moment, I do not have any gaps cut in the track. So everywhere that I have feeders on okay, so here I'm double gapped right here. So everything to this side is on the command station booster. Everything to the other side is on another booster. So I know you asked me to start over and I didn't. I get it. So yes, all of these tracks on this side are currently wired together. And that's why I need the gaps. But I turned off the track, right? So what I can do now is I can climb under the layout, and I'm going to leave this on, and I should be able to go sensor by sensor, and it should go right down the line, and I think if I've done everything correctly, it should go 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. So it should go down this row here. It should start at this one, and it should just go right down this row, if I've done it correctly. So I'm going to climb under the layout, and if this works, I don't know. Hopefully, it should work. So let's see. So that should be 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. So that should have worked. If somebody could tell me if that worked, because I can't actually see the screen. I do hear the dinging. Yep, that worked. Okay, so what that means then is if I go back to here, right, and I turned off all of the tracks to those sensors. So now I need to go and turn all these tracks back on. Well, I guess, you know what? Yeah, let's turn all these off. Or, sorry, back, yeah. So off is track power on is track power off. And you might be saying, why in the world did you do that? That is backwards. And the reason I did that is because if for any reason the relays die, I want the relays to die in their normally open position, not their normally closed. So normally it takes power to close the circuit. So they will naturally, in their natural state, be normally open. So if a relay die, anyway. Am I using BD20 sensors? No, I am not. Let's go back here. I can open a new tab. I'll show you. YAMORC. Let's see if we can find this item. Back to catalog. So I am using one of these feedback modules right here. So I'm not using, this is a LocoNet Railcom device. I am using this device, YD6016LNCS. So this is the device I'm using. Instead of using a, now I'm forgetting what the name of it is. The thing that you run the wires through. So instead of using that, which is like what the BD20 uses, the coil, instead of using the coil and running the wire around the coil, and then the coil senses the resistance change, instead, what I am using is this, where the power actually goes through this device. I don't know if this is any better or not. This is just what I happen to be using. So the black device that you saw in the video is this same device, but it's DigiKey's version instead of yet another model railroad company's version, but they're ultimately the same things. And correct, without the gaps, the device is not going to work correctly. which is why I need to cut the gap. And I guess I've delayed long enough that the only thing left to do is to cut the gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off track power. So track power is now off. So I did that so that theoretically, when I go to cut this, of course I'm buffering now that I'm about to pull out the Dremel, right? Because who knows what's going to happen. It's a current transformer. Yard tracks always need to be on their own separate circuit from the main. Yeah, so all of my tracks are on their own relays so that I can turn off. What I did not do yet, and what I still have planned to do, is I've got, and of course, now I'm not going to be, oh, here they are. I've got these guys, and my plan, these are 4-circuit, basically circuit breakers. So I am going to use these to split out things like the yard and the main line. Right now, as I mentioned, half the layout is on command station, the other half is on the booster. So right now, the north side of the layout might go out, but the south side would keep going. My layout only has 2 operators at a time. So if one person trips the system, it's not like I got 20 people standing around wondering what the heck is going on. So that's that story. All right, so what am I going to use? I got to set up the Dremel. These are what I'm going to use. Thomas Split Rock 323 is the one that recommended these. These are 7/8 inch by 0.009 discs. These discs are significantly thinner than the regular Dremel discs. So let's see if I can, I don't know if I can do it. Here we go. There we go. So this here, and I'll probably need to zoom in a second. This here is a regular Dremel disc, and this here is one of these Dedeco discs. Now, if you go this route, if you are going to get these Dedeco discs, as Adam points out, if you breathe on them wrong, they break. That is why I have this. I will be wearing this when I do the cutting because I like my face in the pieces that my face is in. So let me zoom in on this and let's see if we can see how thin these discs are. The reason I'm kind of using these thinner discs is primarily because with N scale, I feel like I really want them to be thinner. With HO scale, you don't necessarily need it, but you can see as I kind of tilt the disc, you can see how the Dremel one is much thicker than the little one. I had to buy these from Dedeco directly. I could not find a distributor. They are sold as, or I think they're primarily sold, I think, for medical use, if I'm not mistaken. If you want, here, write that down. There you go. So that's what I got. I got 100 of them. They sell them, I think, in either 100 or 25. It was $50, I think, for 100 of them. So it is not cheap. They're not cheap at all. But if you want that really narrow gap, it's kind of what you need to do. So let's go back to here. Okay, so what do we think? It's a lapidary and dental disc. I don't know what lapidary is. I know what dental is. Yeah. Andy, probably. I use a face shield. Yes, I will definitely be using a face shield as well. Yeah, all of Manhattan goes dark. Oh, jeez. So, I told you these break easily, right? I was trying to close the box back up because I don't have a lot of space and I didn't want to drop anything, and I ended up breaking the disc. So here's the other thing, right? So I'm going to use this extension on the Dremel. I find personally that I can get closer to the ground and hit it and cut it at a little bit more of a straight angle. So what I need to do is I need to find a place somewhere around here to plug this in and then hang it off the layout somewhere where then that little thing is going to reach. And I'll turn it off again when I go to assemble, or when I go to do the thing. So here I'm just taking a squeeze clamp, and I'm just squeeze clamping it to the layout right here. This should give me enough room. Yep. So we're going to cut it somewhere right about here. So people are probably asking, I know I would be asking if I was in the chat, how in the heck did you figure out where to cut that? And that's a good question. I guess I can explain that as well. So I've got these two cars right here. And basically what I did was I took the two cars and I put them on the two tracks next to each other, and I got them on the tracks. I pushed them together and noted where they hit. So where they hit is my collision point, so I'm going to back off of that from, a little bit, and basically I'm going to cut the track just behind where they hit. So what that is going to do is, if this person on this track leaves a car in this block, the computer system will know something is in this block, and the computer will know you can't pull anything out past it. So in order to pull something past it, this will need to move back. The other thing that is going to do is, when this is in this block here, it is going to prevent this switch from turning. If there is something in the block, the switch cannot be thrown. And the reason for that is so that the dispatcher cannot basically throw a switch under a car. So that's kind of basically how I figured out where to cut it. I'm going to cut it basically right here where there's a little mark. It's where the throw bar actually is on the switch right next to it. So that is basically going to be my reference point. So now let's unplug this. Let's try and get another one of these out without breaking it, which we'll see how that goes. Preferable, as long as you have resistor 2L sets on each end of the car. What I am planning to do, let's look at a car real quick. So I am using, you can't really see, but I am using truck mounted couplers, right? So the coupler is connected to the truck. So the end wheel set, unfortunately, I won't really be able to get a resistor on it because it'll hit. So all of my resistors will be on the inside wheel on both of the cars. Not perfect. It's definitely not perfect. But I'm an N-scale model railroader. You really can't expect perfect yet. Have I made the cut? No. Wait, there's a person on the track. Hopefully not. This is not O scale. The O scale is up above me, up there. That extension, yeah, I highly recommend if you have a Dremel, get one of these extensions. It definitely helps as you're working on the railroad. I already have the correct tool holder. Basically, you pull this guy off. It's a little screw. You stick the screw in the center of this guy, and you try not to break the disc as you then screw this onto the end. I really don't want to break another one of these discs because they are not cheap before I make the cut. After I make the cut, I'll end up breaking the disc probably. But before I make the cut, let's try not to break another disc. So I need to concentrate. Play the Jeopardy theme song or something. I'll get there in a couple of hours. I'm using my Dry Hill. Dry Hill is a model railroad club that has their layout at Amherst. I was just watching the Mini Prints live stream right before my show at 7 o'clock today. And John Sacerdoti was actually on the Mini Prints stream. And they were talking about this year's upcoming Amherst show. So, hold on, everybody. We're getting closer. Now, the other thing I probably should have done is cleaned this because it is an absolute mess. And I kind of would like to be able to see out of it at least a little bit while I'm making this cut. So the funny part is, my plan is, I'm gonna, jeez. I was hoping that I'd have time to make the cut and get everything connected up, but at this point, I'm just gonna be glad if I can actually make this cut without messing anything up. So I'm only gonna cut the rail closest to the front. The way this layout is wired, the red wire is in the front, the black wire is in the back, B for black. So my red wire is my sensed wire on this system. So I will want to cut completely through the front rail on this without cutting through the back rail or making any other mistakes. So I don't know how loud this is going to be. I guess I should turn the vacuum on, shouldn't I? I don't know how loud this is all going to be. We're going to turn the vacuum on. You know what? Let me do something first. I know, hold on. I'm going to turn back on. Come on. Oh, here. No. Oh, that's not what I want. Oh, there we go. Filters, noise suppression. So I'm turning on noise suppression. You won't hear the dings anymore right now for a second, but I should be able to make this cut without deafening everybody. So Alexa, turn on the vacuum. Alexa, turn off the vacuum. Alexa, turn off the vacuum. Okay. The off didn't work so well. All right. So I might, where's the close-up? Oh, geez. You guys want close-ups? Let's see. We can get a close up of it now that I'm done. I would have needed a third hand to do a close up of the cut. So the cut is right here. You can see the cut. I think I went all the way through. Yeah, it looks like I went all the way through. So that's the size cut in N scale. Oh, let's see. Hold on. Let's move it over here. There we go. Now you should be able to see it. So that's the size of the cut in N scale in relationship to the tie next to it. It looks like I can see air right through it, so I should be good electrically. You can see there's dust on the layout, of course, but okay, so what's the next step? The next step now would be to turn it back, turn the filter back off. Now that the filter is back off, what I will do is turn the layout back on. Is anybody else nervous right now? I don't know if this is going to work or not. So I'm kind of, next step, ballast. Yeah. Oh, geez. Oh, don't scare me. No, we're not going to ballast the track. Okay, so let's bring this guy up first. So we'll come in here tight. Oh, why is that? Why did that come on? Oh, there we go. So what's going to happen now? Oh, I guess I could do this. Hold on, we got more cameras. Let's set up more cameras. Come on. There we go. Okay. So if we go back to the tight shot, I'm in the tight shot. You want the extra camera. So there's the camera. So I'm going to take this little guy now, and we'll start placing him on the tracks. We'll see what happens. First things first, I need to actually turn the track power on. Uh-oh. Boy, that was interesting. I don't know if you heard what happened, but when I turned it on, the system started buzzing as it was detecting everything. All right, so now if I go here, nothing happens. Nothing. Oh, there we go. So you can see random ones are happening. So if I go on this one now, why isn't this camera working? The camera doesn't, oh geez, hold on. I thought I had the camera working. Is that better? There we go. Now it's working. So here's the little guy. So when I put him on this track, it does nothing. This track does nothing. Let's see, this track out here seems to be working. So if I put it on this track here, only one thing should now light up, hopefully. God, I hope this works. Oh, man. Ah, come on. Oh, calm down. Well, that's a bummer. It didn't work. Why didn't it work? So this track section, see, I knew I shouldn't have done this. So this track section, it has power still, so it could run a train, but for whatever reason, it's not triggering the bells. And I don't know why, because there's two sets of feeders actually going down to this. So it should be triggering two sensors. There's I'm right over a set of feeders here. Oh, well, that's interesting. Interesting. So it's supposed to just be triggering one track, but for some reason, it's still triggering more than one track, but with additional resistance. So maybe I didn't completely split it. I thought I went all the way through it, but I guess there's always a chance. There's always a chance that I didn't get all the way through it, which will be interesting. So I guess, well, okay, so one thing I can try, let's try this real quick. So let's go back to here. Let's go back to this page. Let's turn that off. All right, so if we go back here and we start turning off the tracks, what I'm gonna look for is when the little people stop going off. Let's see if I can set this up. Okay, so we'll turn this back on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the tracks one at a time until the people go off, and then I'm going to turn all of the tracks off except for that one, and then we'll see. Let's see. Check across and test gap here. Also check to see. Yeah, I gotta. Let's see. Okay, let's turn these off. So it's not that one. It's not that one. 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 Uh-oh. Not that one. That's interesting. It didn't turn off. So maybe I thought that those are the wrong ones. So let's try a different set. So that was 1 through 8, and this is 9 through 16. I gotta be honest, I could have looked up, I do have this all written down, so I should know which circuit this is, but, you know, I should work for NASA. I could screw up things here better than that. All right, so let's see, turning that off, that off, that off. Come on, go off. Go off, people. Why aren't these people going off? All right. Well, that is a complete mystery. Oops, that's the wrong one. That is a complete and total mystery. I now have what I think is all of these tracks in this area turned off, and they're still getting power somehow. So how are they still getting power? I don't understand. Oops, not that one. Boy. Oh man, when things don't work. See, I told you I should not be doing this on a live stream. So oh. So this is apparently 201. Huh. So it's different than what I thought it was. And now I got to go look up. Now I got to go look up to see why that track is 201. So what I'm doing right now is I am turning off every other track in this area. Oh, interesting. Hold on. Huh. So it seems for some reason, if I turn off 210, it goes off. And if I turn off 201, it goes off. Well, I told you I probably shouldn't have done this live. So I got to go back through. I got to figure out, I need to double check what track this should be wired to. once I know what this track should be wired to, it'll be a little bit easier to go through and troubleshoot why it's turning off with two different, because either one of those two should give it power. It shouldn't go off with either one or the other. Maybe I do have a wire crossed. I don't know. Well, I guess there's always next time. From the city that never sleeps, farewell, model citizens.
It's all about humanity.